Prop 11, paramedic break time. So should the labor code be amended to allow private ambulance employees to remain on call during their work breaks and to exempt their employers from potential liability for violations of existing law regarding work breaks? The situation right now, California counties oversee local emergency medical services. Private ambulance providers enter into contracts to provide these emergency medical services in a specific area subject to performance requirements. Periodic contract renegotiations address changes in those costs. Ambulances are geographically positioned based on service demand, and when an ambulance is dispatched, other area ambulances are repositioned. Historically, EMS personnel remain on call during work breaks, which are often interrupted by 911 calls or repositioning. In a 2016 case involving private security guards required to remain on call during rest breaks, the California Supreme Court held that such breaks do not comply with state labor laws. Rather, they must be off-duty and uninterruptible even in an emergency. The security guards were awarded penalties and damages. So what Prop 11 would do is amend the state labor laws applicable to providers' personnel, which would allow them to remain on call throughout their breaks. They'd have to respond to emergency call during meal and rest breaks, and if a break is interrupted, employer is required to provide another break during their shift. All breaks would be paid at the employee's regular rate. It would also change several other rules regarding meal and rest breaks, while requiring providers to operate enough ambulances to meet performance requirements. Prop 11 would limit legal liability that providers must face if the Augustus decision is applied to providers' personnel. Several lawsuits regarding the work break practices for ambulance employees are in the court system. The on-call rules established by this proposition would be applied retroactively to those lawsuits that are in the court system. The measure also requires ambulance providers to offer their personnel additional training, education, counseling, and services. The budget impact would be lower costs for private ambulance companies, and cities and counties that depend on private ambulance services would also save money. Providers that don't provide training and education at levels required under Prop 11 would have new costs. Prop 11 would result in local government net savings, likely in the tens of millions of dollars due to lower emergency ambulance costs. The pros, the people who support it, Prop 11 establishes into law the long-standing industry practice of paying medical personnel to be on call during their work breaks. It's essential that emergency personnel are able to respond quickly and deliver life-saving medical care during mass casualty events. Prop 11 mandates that such personnel receive additional training to meet those emergency standards. There's no argument against Prop 11 was submitted. So that's Proposition 11.